2014, I watched a lot of people in the Naruto community online come to grips with the fact that Naruto was ending. This series that had been a part of these people's lives forever, something they grew up with, something they idolized, was ending. It had always been there for them. There was a new chapter damn near every week, and soon there would be no more of it, ever. An aspect of their life built fundamentally into their routines would change, and a story they had followed for years would end. It was a big moment for them. But this was also an historic moment for the wider anime and manga community as a whole. As a titan of the industry, Naruto was ending, and I as a 12-year-old understood this enough that I wanted to be a part of this seemingly history-making event. So after it was announced that Naruto would end in 5 chapters, giving me 5 weeks, my ambition was to watch all of the available episodes and then switch to the manga thereafter, in order to read the final chapter along with everybody and be a part of this history. Now this was a Herculean task, and I didn't make it, only getting up to the beginning of the war arc, which is pretty impressive. And I ended up reading chapter 700 when it came out anyway. But it's only now that this is happening to my series that I fully understand the plight of the Naruto fans back in 2014, and understand the folly of trying to get in on that experience in the final weeks. Now that Attack on Titan is ending, and when you are hearing this has ended, I finally understand what they were going through. Now it's our turn to say goodbye.
$20
2014 wasn't just notable to this story because it was the year Naruto ended, as it was also the year I started my wonderful and wacky journey with Attack on Titan. Starting with season 1 of the anime, but picking up right afterwards that same year with the manga. Yes, I, like many of you, started with season 1 of the anime, though you'd never catch me recommending it to anyone. To put that into perspective for some of you, when I jumped in on the manga, we were still in the beginnings of the Uprising arc. I think the cliffhanger I caught up to was whether or not Jean had been shot by the MPs. We're going that far back. I didn't get in on the ground floor. I haven't been reading the series since 2009. Like I'm sure a very proud few of you have. But this series has been in my life for 7 years now. Probably exactly now that it's April. I was 12 when I started, and I'll be 19 when it finishes. And I'd say in terms of stories, it's defined those years to me as the one unmoving constant. Attack on Titan is my Naruto. It is the thing I've grown up with. It's the series I'm irrationally attached to. It's the series that I never imagined would end. But here we are making this video. And now I properly understand that trying to catch up with Naruto in 5 weeks to be there at the end with everybody kind of misses the entire point. You can't replicate that build-up and the attachment to something you've been invested in for more than half a decade in 5 weeks just to say that you were there. And this weird, hesitant feeling of what happens afterwards can only be understood when something's been an immovable part of your routine for all these years. It might be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. One Piece fans, I hope you're ready. I think you're next. Looking back, I've enjoyed so much over these years. The mystery trappings were the first thing that intrigued and hooked me about the series. I enjoyed finding out where the Titans came from, where the walls came from, what's going on with the Titan shifters, and what's in the basement. But thinking back, especially over the last arc of Attack on Titan, it's become evident to me that the characters are the strongest aspect of this story, and probably the thing we'll all miss the most. I didn't always believe that, but I do now. Watching Levi struggle with the fact that he's too strong to die, a superpower that ironically in this cruel world dooms him to a fate worse than death, as he has to watch everybody he cares about die as the series progresses, has been captivating as he slowly finds the will to continue on. Watching Gabby go from this lovable tyrannical little shit to a decapitating egalitarian queen through being forced to confront her previous mistakes was a journey and a half. Watching Annie go from being my favorite character as a 12-year-old in love to legitimately a great character in the final 15 chapters of the series, living up to everybody's unearned renown, was so fulfilling. Watching Piek be the sexiest thing that ever sexed was great. Watching Mikasa be torn in two as her moral duties as a comrade to her friends and as an ally to humanity come at odds with her affection and nostalgia for Eren in a simpler time cemented her as my favorite character among the original three and a great character overall, especially with how things ended up. It's been a hell of a ride, and I don't really know what I am going to do without it moving forward.
Running, loving, singing, hugging, living, get it, stack it, running, dancing, flying, people, wake up, come on, keep on dreaming, don't stop, loving, trying, growing, don't stop, they gon' try to slow you, don't stop, never, ever, know why, don't stop, London, Paris, LA, don't stop, Atlanta, Jamaica, Rio, don't stop, New York, Lego, Sydney, don't stop, you tried to kill me, created a monster, you tried to end me, but face it, no, know why the envy, I got it, it's in me, been so long since I had new faith, been so long since I changed my ways, been so long since I didn't okay, I met a lady on the side of the road, and her eyes was a story that had never been told, about a life that was lived on hope, and the truth of the inner light that we all hold, she said, baby, I can hear my train coming, I'll leave with something before I go, listen child, don't you ever waste time trying to do nobody shine, better water your own.
Well, we wake up tomorrow and feel like we are closer together. Same for colossal changes in how we treat each other when we're living in the city of elevations. Is it man or woman feeling some balance today?
I really hope you get everything you praying for, even if that thing you praying for my downfall. Amen, hallelujah. I say I'm number one, you say delusional. Woke up like fuck that humble shit, I'm on my rumble shit. When it's talk about winning, lose it's talk about other shit. You never get what you deserve, just what you
ありがとう。
I've written hundreds of thousands of words about Attack on Titan these last 7 years, from the various videos I've made on this channel that many of you have likely seen to this booklet of 2014 theories I wrote 7 years ago that I created to show my friends at school, speculating about all the hot questions burdening the community at the time, like where's Eren's father, and how does a person become a Titan shifter? It's a lot of fun in retrospect to look back upon, and I even have a video on the channel from our first stream ever on Twitch where I went back through the booklet, reading out all the various theories to maybe one person in chat. And speaking about our Twitch streams, all our biggest ones over the years have been chapter discussions at the beginning of every month about the most recent Attack on Titan chapters. Nothing even comes close in terms of viewers, we usually get at least 50 live viewers each month. But when you're hearing this, the final of those streams will have ended. We will never do another one. As I'm saying these words, as I'm typing these words, the chapter has still not come out yet. I don't know how it all ends. But when you're hearing this, you will know. I envy you. in the future, but then I don't, because it will all be over then. There will be no more streams, no more chapters, no more Attack on Titan. Ever. The end is coming for me with this series. Allow me to savor the last moments of anticipation and unknowing before we are forced to move on. After all good things must come to an end eventually. And that's life.
That's life.
Goodbye.
That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top in June. I said that's life.
That's life.
And as funny as it may seem, some people get their kicks stomping on a dream. But I don't let it get me down. 'Cause this fine old world, it keeps spinning around. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing, each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life.
That's life.
I tell you, I can't deny it. I thought of quitting, baby, but my heart just ain't gonna buy it. And if I didn't think it was worth one single try, I'd jump right on a big bird and then I'd fly. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing, each time I find myself laying flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life.
That's life.
That's life. And I can't deny it. Many times I thought of cutting out, but my heart won't buy it. But if there's nothing shaking come this here July, I'm gonna roll myself up in a big ball and